All right, get some things streaming here.
And they would like make their way into the house.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. There's nothing in there.
Well, gotta go somewhere.
Yep. All right.
Freaking ladybugs.
Not quite ladybugs.
I don't know. I was feeling pretty good until Nate.
I had to apologize. Yeah, it's
it was like a magical, whimsical, special moment the kids and I shared together. Like, and they would like make their way into the house.
Yep, there we go. Of course, that's working.
How often do you
Instagram's
see that many ladybugs in one spot? It's like
still haven't.
The universe is like look down on you and kiss you on the forehead.
Yeah, I was talking to Geraldine about that. It's like pretty much the same thing you do every time someone says, "Oh, look at this cute, weird thing this animal's doing." It's like you come back with some neurological thing. The animal's going to die in 2 days.
Yeah. No, I mean, I've learned to react well to it because I'm like 18 times a day. Like, no, that's false. That's not true.
Terrible,
Here's what this actually means, and people still defend it. People are still like, well, but it still means something.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know. It's just false. The thing
is actually not true at all.
You could just find a fable that means the same thing and share that, and then be upfront about it. You don't have to defend it. All right, are we?
I think we're live on everything now. Let me just.
Speaking of hurting people's feelings with the truth, welcome to the 034 Motorsport live chat. We're here to answer all your questions as directly and truthfully as possible. Anything you'd like to know about 034 Motorsport, products, services, our history, our philosophy, anything you want to know, you can ask.
I was in the wise.
Try not to ask us about when's this going to be done or when's that going to be ready, because we may not answer it. Because there's just no good answer to some of these update questions, and so I'd rather talk about the stuff that we do know about. I'm Javad Shadzi, by the way, and this is Nate Stewart. And we take a no BS approach to responding. We're not salesmen. We have not been trained.
We're not professional actors in any way.
No, we've not been trained to professionally present on YouTube in any way. We're not nearly as exciting as other social media influencers.
We're very algorithmically challenged.
We don't use like a lot of expression when we're talking. We don't really act super excited, even though we could be very excited inside. And we love to weave in perversion with any of our responses whenever possible. All right, we got questions rolling in already. If you have a question, feel free to put it into the browser of your current use, and we will do our best to get to all the questions. Does the RS5 B9 oil cooler open at 125C? Can it open sooner? How does the BMW S58 maintain stable oil temps in comparison? Thank you.
Generally, oil coolers will open before that. They're right around 100, 105C or thereabouts. They want to get that up above 100C, but 125 sounds way higher than what I've typically seen. I don't know that being said. I don't know off the top of my head exactly when it opens on the RS5.
I don't think either of us know much about the BMW S58 oil system.
No, and that's in so many different chassis too. Like I'm sure it varies depending on application.
However, the oil cooler system's ability to maintain temps has a lot less to do with how soon or when it opens, and it has to do with its thermal capacity and its ability to deal with up to a certain amount of heat. So a bigger oil cooler system with more oil volume, with more heat exchanger, capacity, with a bigger cooling system to support it, because most of these new cars, link the oil and coolant temp together in some way. If the system is overall bigger and designed for more heat, which I believe the S58s would be, because it's a much more powerful engine from the factory, then that's why. But you can tweak and optimize with, when things start opening, but ultimately you can't solve the problem with that.
With just a thermostat.
Typically, no. Remember in the old days, we used to have lower coolant temperature thermostats, which would open the thermostat sooner. But all that really does is gives you a sort of running start towards solving the problem of the cooling. You start at if you open the thermostat sooner, let's say at 80 degrees C instead of 88 degrees, then you just kind of bought yourself 8 extra degrees before things max out. So it's kind of like getting yourself a running start to Usain Bolt. You might get 8-second head start, and then he's just going to pass.
Depending on the length of that race, the outcome could be very different.
Now, if the entire race is 9 seconds long, you're going to do very well with an 8-second head start. But if that race ends up being 15, 20 seconds long, it's not going to matter. And this is a good way to think about it. You can do 1 or 2 hard pulls down the freeway, and if you open your thermostat a little sooner, you might that head start may be enough. But on track in a 30-minute session, you're going to blow through that head start in the first lap or two, and then now you're dealing with your thermal capacity, and the only really way to solve that is to add more cooling capacity to the system, which means more heat exchangers, bigger heat exchangers. Is the Racing Line oil management catch can kit for B9 3.2 on your website the same one that you guys plan to release? If not, how will yours differ? Do you recommend the Racing Line catch can? I don't want to talk a lot about that, and honestly, I don't know that much about it. They released theirs really early on, and theirs replaced the whole PCV assembly on the valve cover so they kind of had the benefit of removing the problematic PCV check valve as part of the system. They replaced all those hoses. They did have an issue where they removed the vacuum connection, from the intake manifold. And so I'm not an expert on the system, but I believe they've gone back to revise it to add that because some customers are reporting issues with, burning oil due to not having the vacuum in the crankcase. So our kit is completely different. It has nothing to do with the Racing Line kit. It's a totally new design. Our initial stage 1 version will continue to use the factory PCV. We've been calling it the doghouse in engineering.
The separator.
I don't know. It looks kind of like a doghouse when you're messing with it. It's kind of like the Africa plate,
Oh gosh, yeah. The names these guys come up with.
Yeah. Well, you got to call it something.
It's got to be something, right? No,
and the technical long form name of it is impractical.
It's a part
doghouse. Yeah, well, nobody wants to talk that. No. So, anyways, a totally new system, and then we are working on a replacement for the doghouse as a stage 2. But it's not that replacing that is not as critical. So yeah. My DQ 250 always shifts up well, but sometimes the downshifts from relatively low RPM can cause the car to buck like something's let up. Then catches. Any thoughts? What could be happening? It's always worse. Gears 2 to 1 versus 4 to 3. In general, as the car is warmed up, it feels better, and there are times where all downshifts are smooth.
That's a tricky one. If it's good when everything's warmed up, that can be a tough one. I mean, there can certainly be more. That effect can be amplified if your drivetrain mounts have some slop in them. That 1 to 2 or 2 to 1 shift certainly is. It's trying to re-engage that clutch. You can.
That's a tough shift anyway.
It's locking in the motor.
Good luck doing a real aggressive 2 to 1 downshift in a manual.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like trying to actually smoothly, kick down to first in a manual car is.
I would expect some herky jerky there because it's a real abrupt, downshift. But yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say.
I guess the question would be: Is this tuned? Is this stock? Is it different between the tunes? If it's different between the tunes, then it's something we could look at. If you're on our TCU, we could certainly look at. But yeah, that would be the next question: is what's your setup and what do you have for parts?
This is a very good question. What type of pillow does Nate use to style his hair?
Oh, nice. Basically the finest memory foam that was handed down to me from somebody else. I have no idea. I haven't bought a pillow in 20 years. The pillow just appeared on the bed. I'm like, all right, I'll sleep on that.
Yeah, I don't have the type of hair that you could just wake up and go.
No, mine's usually I have horns. It's it's a shower and then it's just a quick, and that's done.
Yeah, good. Very insightful question.
No, Nick's telling me I was supposed to change my pillow. Yeah, my pillow gets changed. I'm saying I haven't bought one in 20 years. It's just A pillow appears on the
Right.
B9.
According to doctors who have been paid off by
Yeah.
mypillow.com, I'm pretty sure I've had pillows that I've used for 15 years. And
I guess you're supposed to change your toothbrush every once in a while too. I don't know.
Well, I changed those because it just,
A couple of years.
You just change the head.
yeah, because mechanically it just gets solved. It's like you got to change your sandpaper too, you know.
It's one time use.
Grinding disc. They only last so long. First thing I should do to my B9 SQ5. It depends what you're looking for. However, most people would like to have more power, and the stage 1 tune is the best way to get that a sizable bump in power.
And it's handy too now with the app. You get the tune, but you also get like a bunch of diagnostic tools and stuff that come along with it. So it's kind of a nice little added benefit.
And on sale
to get you started on the mod.
On sale right now. In fact, it's worth mentioning that we are currently in the midst of our Winterfest sale, which includes healthy discounts on tuning and all of our hardware products. All 0 through 4 Motorsport products are on sale.
Yep.
Through February 10th.
12th.
Oh, sorry.
The sale's through the 12th.
Yes, the sale's through the 12th. Our Winterfest event is on February 10th. The sale is to commemorate and draw attention to the event. I will cook, I think it's 25 gallons of
It's huge.
chili made from real pot roast.
Yeah, that pot is pretty epic.
It's like a $600 pot of chili.
Yeah, easily.
That could feed 500 people. So it's a pretty impressive amount of chili.
It's substantial. Yeah, the reinforcements we had to do to hold the burner underneath it is.
Yeah, it's more than 2 Costco shopping carts worth of food that goes into it.
And multiple days worth of cooked.
Yes, 2 days of cooking. We will have fun vibes, according to our marketing department.
Vibes.
I'm looking forward to experiencing that.
Yeah, that sounds great.
We will have giveaways, including a set of ZTF wheels. We work with our corporate partners and sponsors to donate great products, track days, things like that.
Yeah, so Turn 8 will be here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Turn 8 will be here. I think Audi Club usually here. Car show.
Yep.
You can sign up for the car show on our website if you'd like.
We still have openings for
Bring your car.
shows?
Yes. Yeah, we have quite we've been getting people to sign up too. Tours of our facility. You can hang out. You can have fun. There's going to be some hugs being given out, probably. High fives. We should have plenty of high fives in stock and quite a few fist bumps. So yeah, come on out. See what we're all about. It's actually a pretty amazing atmosphere with like usually 500 Volkswagen Audi enthusiasts and more BMW enthusiasts. Our service department is open. We have all of our company development cars on display, customer cars on display.
We're all super accessible. Just walk up, ask questions, let us know what your, thoughts, questions, experiences, anything you want to know. We're here.
Yeah. I always like it when I realize that I'm doing in-person live chat.
Yes, the live chat is extra live.
I'm like, actually, I just talked about this on Monday, but we could talk about it.
There you go.
Yeah, it's fun. There's good energy. I know for us, it's awesome to see the positivity and enthusiasm, and a lot of times we're the squeaky wheel here gets the most attention, so we're dealing with not the happiest customers or people who are difficult or in many cases jerks, and it's nice to just be in person with real people who are nice, who like us, who we've helped them build the car of their dreams. It's a community of people who will share the same passion, so it's really fun. Come on out. We have people from all over the state and otherwise the West Coast come. Highly recommended. And actually, I will go so far to say that it could be the best chili you've ever had. It's very good.
Damn good chili.
And the feedback that I get is tremendous. Oh god, the Super Bowl's on Sunday, the day after. That's rough. All right, hopefully anyone comes. Someone's asking about Kli-Max. We're working on it every day. It's
what I'm working on. They're asking us estimated release dates. Give us something. It's coming along very well. I've got it running up and going now in almost its final iteration with the software changes we needed to make. So that's going to go. That's on my car now, and we'll be going to a couple of beta guys soon just to validate everything's happy with the new calibration changes because it is quite a bit different. And yeah, we'll be moving to pushing it out publicly very soon. I'm looking forward to that. That's exciting.
Just a preamble. Whoever is asking about the people that talk shit about stage tunes, can you follow up with what is supposed? I'm not aware of this. I don't know what could be so bad about a stage tune. Yeah. I was curious, so I could address the court issue.
Yeah, exactly. It's shorthand for a given market to kind of let people know what they're getting into.
Hi from UK. Just want to say thanks for all the time and effort you guys put into your products. Really awesome. Keep up the good work. B9 RS4. Thank you for the feedback. So cool that you get to drive an RS4.
Yeah, we don't get B9 RS4.
We don't have that. I hear report came out that there will be an RS5 Avant in the US.
Yes.
And that Audi is moving all ICE engines to odd numbered models. So the 3, the 5. So that's interesting. So all the kind of high performance ICE products will be under the A5 RS5 platform.
But will it be gas or diesel?
Definitely not diesel.
Well, the European S stuff went to diesel. All the B9.5s are all diesel. So
yeah. That's crazy. Should I go with 0 through 4 or Neuspeed brake lines for our MK8 GTI? Oh, that's a good question. Really,
it's not loaded at all. I wonder,
are these them?
Similar,
yeah. You should definitely go with our brake lines. I don't really know anything about Neuspeed brake lines or products in general. I actually used to. I was one of the top-selling Neuspeed dealers in the United States in 1999, 2000 range. But then the company I was working for stopped paying Neuspeed, and we owed them like $300,000 in 1999.
Nice.
Which is like,
wasn't this company?
Which is like 800. No, I had a job in the industry at a company where I learned a lot about what not to do. But no, our brake lines are very, very good quality, DOT approved. Not only are they stainless steel, but they have a nice vinyl covering. The stainless steel weave underneath the vinyl covering is very abrasive, and it also traps a lot of like dust and dirt. So you really want something that seals it up like this. You don't want just a raw stainless line. And there's really nice molded rubber strain reliefs, which is part of the DOT approval. Very good quality, comes with everything you need, drops right in. Generally, customers report improves brake pedal feel because these hoses do not expand. There's a Teflon inner lining and then a stainless steel weave and then the vinyl covering on the outside. So yeah, really good stuff. All the factory mounting points are there. Installs just like, well, in some cases as good or better than factory. We use all stainless steel fittings and corrosion resistant fittings. So yeah, I don't know. Very, very good quality stuff. B8.5 only has one transmission tune, correct?
Yep. Everything's called the stage 1. We don't have like a stage 2 or 3 file under those. The TCU tune file or you see on the server is the only one there. So there's a couple of options usually on some of them. We'll have different shift points for as they're doing drag racing and whatnot, but it's just one stage.
4MQ7 tuning, asking about that. I'm driving on the various different production files.
Yep.
It's awesome.
Yep. Yeah, they were asking if there's going to be stages. Yes,
Mhm.
we'll likely have, or we will
Yeah.
have stage 1 for the stock pulleys and stage 2 for a higher pulley
Yeah,
ratio.
we're working on a lockout for the clutched
Oh yes, yeah,
supercharger
that'll let us go even
pulley.
further. Yeah, that
Yeah.
that pulley can only deal with so much,
Mhm.
you know, supercharger load essentially,
Yeah.
and it starts sliding or slipping and getting super hot.
Slipping and sliding.
Slipping and sliding. So yeah, we'll have a fixed pulley option coming soon.
Any upcoming enhancements or revisions for B9 software that you can tease us with? I don't know what we want to say, but we're always working on the next
Yeah, I don't know,
update.
but yes, we are. We have yes, quite a few updates coming.
So there was a. I'm just going to say this. I'm probably going to trouble or
Uh-oh.
there'll be some trolls, but
I'm gonna mute it. And we'll...
some jackal guy on YouTube was like criticizing us for having updates and said that that any file that was good would never need an update. And it's just, I mean, I wanted to bring this up because that's just such a crazy notion. If this is going around right now, you know, this idea that you should release a tune and then, our B8 supercharged tuning has been on the market since like 2015 or longer. Can't remember exactly when.
Gosh, yeah, when was that? It was something like, I think it's longer than that.
Laszlo was working here, and it was.
Yep.
But let's just say at least 6 years ago. No, that would be. I mean, we're going on 8 years at least minimum. To think that you could release a file and then never touch it again, that's a liability. That's a problem. You're going to learn more about the car, the platform. You're going to get more out of it. You're going to improve it. That's literally like Android releasing a phone and proudly stating that the phone's as good as it'll ever be. We'll never do an update in 8 years.
Or Apple or anybody. Like there's software updates literally for every platform.
Yeah.
There's no reason not to. Like why wouldn't you, develop and push the latest and greatest to everything?
I don't know why
features, we're adding strategies.
I don't know why you would demonize a company continuing to improve its products from a great initial offering and making it even better at no charge to the customer.
And that I know what comment you're talking about, and it's really weird because in the same breath it's like, well, but this other company is better because they'll even custom tune your ECU. Like,
custom tuning.
So that's like now they're revising per ECU.
Tuning's a huge update.
That's better than
Mm-hmm. Which the custom tuning's not even needed.
Working on full releases.
So, anyways, I just hope that doesn't catch on. It's completely illogical.
Updates are to make things just better. We're working on just refining, further improving, or adding completely new features that we've been working on that the stock ECU doesn't have, or finding new limits as we make more and more power and making the experience even better.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean that we made a huge mistake and we're necessarily fixing it. Although if we did, would you not want us to fix it?
Well, there's that too, but like the Kli-Max stuff coming out, that's the we
those aren't improvements.
We dug into it. We found mistakes in the stock software, and that's what we're fixing now that we've uncovered and isolated and corrected that. So
it's certainly opportunities for huge improvement over factory, which is what tuning's all about. Good deal with the lifetime warranty on the engine trans density line mounts. Have had them /beating on them for the last few years, including tracks. So good to know they're covered if they ever go. Yeah, there's FCP kind of started this lifetime warranty, whatever, return it for whatever you want reason, and they've since pulled back on it a little bit. It's not quite as open and unhinged as it used to be. ECS recently, in the last year, did something similar. And so a lot of these products, it's like, we know what the warranty rates are. We know what the failure rates are. They're really low. So honestly, it's kind of a little bit of a gimmick to say that as a lifetime warranty because they don't really need it. You're not going to have lots of problems with these products. But I think from a marketing standpoint, it's a good message to customers to give them the peace of mind that, God forbid, if they do have a problem, that there is a program that would allow them to get a replacement. Certainly if the problem is related to a manufacturing defect or, reduced life of the product, that didn't last as long as it should or whatever. So it's not like these mounts are really problematic and you're going to need a lifetime warranty to survive buying them. Like the comment that this person made, they've been running them for years, have had no issues. But it's some added peace of mind. So, just being honest, it's not going to cost us a lot of money to offer this lifetime warranty. They're just good quality mounts.
Because the mounts are holding.
And in general, we really stand behind all our products. I know if I'm ever involved in a customer service decision where I can see like this product clearly just wore out too soon, it didn't last as long as it should. This should last the life of the car. I'll be the first to say just replace it. So.
And it's always worth reaching out to us, even if you think you're outside a warranty period and something is, amiss with the product.
Definitely
reach out to us.
Well, it's crazy how often I hear about people who have issues. I'm like, did you contact us? No,
I just got mad and threw a fit, and it's like,
give us a chance to help out at least, So it's not just there are there's terms and conditions. You do have to buy a mount and replace it, and then send your failed mount back to us to be inspected. And essentially turns into a type of claim where we evaluate it. We just don't want the program to be abused, and we want it to apply to any time a product has failed prematurely. That's and not from abuse or things like that. So if you've thrown a set of our density mounts in a 8-second drag car, we're probably not going to cover it because the mounts just aren't. They're not designed.
Yeah, we have motorsport stuff.
Yeah, we sell motorsport mounts for that. But anyways, definitely for the person who installs it and is using the product as it was designed, these mounts should last the lifetime of the vehicle. Should I replace my motor mounts before I get tuned? If you have perfectly functioning factory mounts, no, you don't need to. The mounts are a good idea. They will improve the driving experience, and they will offer a more direct connection to your drivetrain. So when you do get on and off the power, that power will be transferred more efficiently and more directly, but you don't need it.
Yeah, and I don't know which application this was in regards to. So there are some, like all the transverse stuff, you can actually prolong the life of the stock mounts by installing some of our inserts and stuff, proactively, you could say, but they'll get you a lot of that feel. It also reduces the twisting and the big movements on the motor mount side, by putting in like the dog bone inserts and whatnot, just to help limit those massive movements.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna pound through these. If I have an Audi B8 all-road, not 8.5, can I run the B8 A4 too?
Very likely, I will say, but hit us up with your box code and we can confirm that for you.
Yeah, just shoot us an email to tuning
at
034 Motorsports.
Yep. If you have if you don't have our cable or any of our stuff, you have a VCDS screenshot or something of that nature. Even just a VIN, if you have literally nothing, we might be able to look it up on, but that's a little trickier.
Do you guys have in-house reverse engineers? I mean, sort of. So let's talk about it in two ways. In our hardware engineering department, any of our engineers could reverse engineer a hardware product, like a physical product or device. And in some cases, we do reverse engineer, say, factory parts. So like if we're developing a PCV product, we do have to a degree, reverse engineer the factory functionality to understand how it works and then build a new product off that. But we, in the hardware departments, are not in the business of reverse engineering and copying things.
Oh, I see where you're going with that. Yeah.
We do reverse engineer to the extent of breaking down and understanding how it works, but it's not to copy it. It's to create our own totally new version with new added features and functionality that probably didn't exist there. When you hear reverse engineer, you immediately think, someone in China who's bought one, reverse, broken down exactly how it was made, how it works, and then building it back exactly the same way. And our goal in reverse engineering is not to, copy or create counterfeits or exact copies of another product. Yep. Now, on the software side, there is quite a bit of reverse engineering required. to build the code
Yep.
that we need to build. You want to talk about that real quick?
I mean, I can. It's and yes, it is all in house. All of the reverse engineering assets that we use day to day is all in house. But yeah, I mean, to do anything like we just talked about with like this Kli-Max fix with these ECU limits we find, it is all reverse engineered in house. We break down the binary of the processor into assembly or pseudo code, usually C++ style code, and we'll break down function by function, line by line of machine language and code, to find these limits, to figure out the issues that we generally will run into as we're pushing well beyond stock power. So that's even, and then there's the whole flashing side of things where we've got to get in there and figure out hows and whys of flashing, how to flash them, checksums, data validation tests, all that stuff that the stock ECUs do these days. So yes, it's all required to do.
There's no company that does what we do that does what we do that could do it without reverse engineering. There's
there's a lot that think they're doing what we're doing too, where they're developing calibrations to some extent, but may not understand necessarily hows or why they're hitting a limit here and there. So
they're not doing what we're doing.
No.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. But they're portrayed that it's the same level of calibration or software.
Yeah. Interesting question.
Yeah.
I guess I wasn't sure what perspective or frame of mind the question was asked, so that's why I wanted to make sure to address the the copying reverse engineering.
Yeah, because I wasn't even thinking about that aspect, because my whole world is reverse engineering.
In your world it is, but on the hardware side, and I don't know if this is a term, but the bigger problem out there is what I would call reverse manufacturing, where you take a product and you essentially manufacture it in reverse, which means you take it apart in kind of the reverse order of how it was built, and then you learn how to build it, and then you can go forward again. So it's kind of like, if you built it, you can kind of go backwards and then build it again. But you need these kind of cycles.
It's insane how complicated some of those get to. I was watching it was on the Tested channel by Adam Savage on YouTube, but there's a company with this X-ray machine that can do these incredible, basically turns your part transparent. You can see all these different materials, patterns. But long story short, they took a series of AirPod headphone knockoffs. They had the original Apple one, and then they did these series of like different costs of knockoffs from. They look identical from the outside, but
inside
the way that they reversed and copied the amount they needed to sell it as a knockoff.
Yeah, no, they don't work nearly the same,
and it's still some insane engineering.
Yeah, no, it is. Some of the reverse engineering and manufacturing and knockoff stuff in China is truly state of the art.
But it's
just wondering what future products should we expect for the CREC motor. Well, we are planning on expanding our super duper fitment guide for the CREC motors. We won't actually change the product. It will simply be an addition or addendum to the instructions to cut a little bit of the firewall out. There's a false firewall that currently hits. We looked into making a whole new super duper housing, and I think the cost of that was prohibitive for the relatively small market. So there would be a new kit that would adapt, that possibly have a different hose too. But the super duper charger itself would remain the same. We have tuning updates.
Lots of tuning coming.
Lots of tuning updates. We have an in-house vehicle now that we've been working on. Yeah. So I think those are the main things. Yeah.
Yeah, because so much of the other chassis stuff already carries over. But yeah, the motor side is going to get some treatments coming up this year for sure.
After having an APR Stage 2 Plus with the Ultra Charger, would I be able to run the 034 Motorsport file?
We would ask that you repin the throttle body correctly, but that's the only difference. Then yes, you absolutely can, and we can sell you just the little adapter harness that plugs in. That'll do it for you too.
Because the APR had to flip the pole.
It's kind of
Not a hot dog too.
No, there's no hot dog in that one, but they left they flipped the potentiometer. It's an annoying problem because the throttle plates flip between the B9 or B8 S4 and like everything else. So yeah, they had moved around some wiring on that. We put all that back to stock, flip the motor wiring, and then fix the rest of it inside the firmware instead of doing it in the calibration, so it does it all correctly.
Could you talk about some of the issues we're running into regarding B8 S4 fueling upgrades? I don't know if there's anything we want to say at this point.
Other than just it's to what I just spoke to with the throttle plate. There's some other stuff in the B8 S4 that is just B8 S4 specific stuff. So there's not like this library of different injectors or different pumps or different whatever that'll drop into that motor. So there's some packaging constraints. There's just uniquenesses to that motor. So it's not that there are any challenges that were out of the norm of upgrading a fuel system. It's just there's limited options. You got to create everything you want.
Does the miles per gallon change a lot with a tune on a B8.5 Audi S4?
Shouldn't. I mean, it depends how you're driving it.
Not if you are comparing, like driving conditions.
Yeah.
So, you get in the car, start it, use all the same throttle inputs and levels. There shouldn't be. Now, if you, tune in the tuned car, if you're on wide open throttle more, then, once you pass the point where the factory ECU made max power, that extra difference in power is going to require more fuel.
Yep.
And so your miles per gallon under wide open throttle will be less because you're making more power, which requires more fuel.
Yep.
But under like cruising and light load conditions, it should be no different.
No, it isn't. And we had the car, a B8.5 is the vehicle we used for our emissions testing for our carb exemptions. So yeah, no, those literally get put into a closed cell. Everything that comes in and out of that cell, is measured both stock and then tuned to validate that you're doing the same.
Yeah,
you've got all the same efficiencies.
Yeah, and of course, as you get into the e-fuels, like any E40, because of it's less efficient fuel, then you will get worse miles per gallon. But I mean, there's no factory equivalent to that. It would be the same if you ran in the factory. That's a function of the fuel, not the tune, the calibration.
Yep.
But E85 is just less efficient. You need more of it to make the same amount of.
Yeah, it's got a different stoichiometric ratio, so it's gonna burn differently.
With a high pressure fuel pump on MQB, how much extra horsepower does a stage 2+ tune unlock? So all the high pressure fuel pumps files are generally to increase fuel flow capacity for the e-fuels. So in general, you won't see a power increase on pump fuel files with a high pressure fuel pump. Once you put in like E40 or E60 or E85 or something like that, that's because of you need more fuel to make power. You need a higher flowing, fuel pump. And that's for what was there an application for that one?
MQB.
Oh, that's for
MQB.
Right? Yeah.
A lot of questions here, guys.
Yeah. Will ZTF Automotive be doing EA839 engine builds with your lower end upgrade kit? Yes. If you'd like, you could contact them and get a quote on that. We work with various local machine shops to do that engine machining, but that is something that we can do. What's the difference between your heat exchanger and other brands' heat exchanger? I don't know a lot about other brands. From what I've seen, most of them are just repurposed radiators, and with kind of stamped sheet metal end tanks.
I'm guessing they're talking like B8 or C7.
Yeah. All of our heat exchangers feature billet end tanks and a heat exchanger core designed specifically for the supercharger heat exchange type use. Our end tanks are configurable to different applications, whether it's like creating a cross flow or having the coolant come in one way and out the other.
Yep.
So we use the same essential basic core for all the different applications. It's a very big core. It's very high quality. Pressure tested.
It's got dual bleeders on both tanks. You can bleed it much easier than a lot of the options on the market.
Generally, there's fittings that attach, so you don't have these kind of welded on tubes coming out.
The configurability. I mean, it's not necessarily a performance thing. It's just a really nice, configurable solution. If you've got, if you want to change something up, you want to go to a dual pass configuration, or it just fits a lot of vehicles and applications that way.
Ours typically costs more than some of the cheaper stuff out there. So,
that is a
but
difference.
that's the difference. Yeah. Ours is very reasonably priced for what you get. It's good value. Steering feedback able to be tuned via the dynamic electric racks.
In theory, yes. It's nothing we've ever dabbled with. That's a whole another. That's another control unit you would have to program. That's it's got its own controller, its own software. So yes, of course it is, because it's adjustable and the factory tunes it.
That's essentially the amount of assist.
Yeah, it's just basically how
heavy
you feel it is.
It's just electric assist, not an electric.
It's not steer by wire.
Yeah, not steer by wire. Yeah. I mean, there's companies doing that, isn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, it's getting
crazy. Are you guys working on revised ZF8 TCU tune? I like this part. Not an update question. Just want to know if it's something you're working on. Okay, it's an update.
Yes, we are. We actually put if this is the older, like the AL551. We actually put a flyer out, a survey out, looking for some feedback, because we are in the middle of revising that. So we just want to kind of make sure we kind of touch base on everything we can, because these are big updates and a lot of files. So yep, we're actively working on that.
Is it harmful to run a high flow downpipe on the B9 S4 without the tune? I mean, it's not harmful. The ECU will throw a check engine light. You will no longer be smog legal, and the ECU will ensure that you won't make any more power. So kind of the one benefit would be a louder exhaust note. I actually remember when we were developing our high flow racing cat, we put it on our B9 S4 without a tune, and the engine sounded awesome. It's like the best the cars sounded with just the high flow cat. But it didn't make any more power. It wasn't faster or anything like that. So I guess the only thing that will get hurt is your wallet, because you'll be spending however much money for no reason. When will the tie rods for the control arm and ball joint setup for a Mark 7 be for sale? We are currently working on those. We have some really nice solutions for that will allow some bump steer correction as well. No ETA, but that is something we're working on. Just the same question about B8 S4 fueling. How does sending the TCU box code work for 2022 plus B9 S4 S5 Q5? Friend is trying to get a great 2022 S4 deal and tune, but unsure of the TCU unlock.
Yeah, I mean, we can check for you. The problem is there's a split there that is not identified. You can't identify it, basically, with normal box code checking.
Yeah.
We can check and see if we've had any other, send us the VIN and the box code. We can give you a best guess. We can tell if there's any TCUs that have been flashed of a VIN a little bit later or around that one. But that's probably about your best shot. Yeah. Give us all the information you can. We can try to validate it, but there'll be no guarantees on it. Just because the loader that gets changed is kind of behind the scenes. It's not part of the box code.
Did you stop offering the ECU tunes for the AAN? Was looking on the site the other day, and they have vanished, or I've become blind. Now, I do believe we took them down.
Yep.
Because we don't sell many of those anymore. Like a few a year.
Not maybe. Yeah.
And they're just a lot of work.
It's a very manual process to build them up. They're not worth keeping a bunch of inventory on the shelf. It would just take that shelf space. That's that's worth more than unfortunately the couple we would sell. So,
we've moved away from chip tuning in general.
Yeah,
as has the rest of the world.
Yes, pretty much everybody does. It's got to be. I don't want to say an open source available solution, but there's a lot of home brewing out there.
That's fraught with danger, unless you really know what you're doing.
I guess.
But unfortunately, supporting that market has become very difficult.
And those ECUs are, pretty fragile these days. We stopped doing the installs on them because it was very hard to know that the ECU was going to open nicely without the cables between the boards crumbling apart. and then you're working on now what 30+ year old circuit boards. So it's just dicey in general.
First, thanks for the candid and detailed responses to our questions. Absolutely, that's what we always commit to do. You're welcome. 034 rocks. Thank you. My question, map switching is easier with SPI. Have you considered a valet or stupid teenager mode for RPM speed limit?
Yes, we have. It's not something we've, put up there, really, because it's just a whole nother file that we get very little requests for.
Yeah, it comes up every so often.
It's a lot of work. It's not a lot of work to make the file once, but it's a lot of work to do it across the, thousands of different control units and, injector and turbo and all the other setups that are out there.
Yeah, I remember it used to be such a big thing. Like every tune came with valet mode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I don't know if I should touch this one. We already addressed it online.
Oh, the top one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, what the hell?
Okay.
So last week we were notified that our friends at Integrated Engineering had released a series of ads, and they basically took a picture of our dongle off of our website, put it in their ad, and then they did like this comparison ad, which was like, with IE you get this great stuff, and with the other people, which is obviously us, with yellow lettering, which is our corporate color, you get all this terrible stuff. And one of the things said violating patents. We have never violated a patent. We've never been accused of, legitimately accused of that. We had a case, which is on YouTube, which you can watch, where we were accused by an industry competitor of violating their patent, and I came on here and described in great detail how we did not violate their patent.
Yeah, we've never had a patent claim against us.
Actually, they were violating their own patents. But we've never violated patents. So I took a screenshot of that and I texted it to one of the owners there. And I just said that this is libel and we would be contacting our legal. And all the ads were taken down within the hour. So I don't know what's going on over there. It's pretty ridiculous type of desperate advertising efforts. Kind of sad. But I don't know. Yeah. It's literally the picture of our dongle from our website. Yeah, they just took it off of our website. So, anyways, that's what that was about, and I don't know what the story is. Like I said, I don't know what's going on over there. I've heard they've hired some new marketing person from outside the industry, and maybe this new marketing person thinks that could fly in this industry. That it's like
for any industry.
Those kind of well, I don't know. Maybe there's industries out there where you can like create ridiculous, slanderous ads like that. But go ahead and criticize us on legit, substantive, points. But to accuse us of doing something that's patently false that could be proven legally is pretty audacious and silly.
You slipped the patent in there.
Yes. All right. 4MQ7 estimated release date.
Oh my goodness. These Q7 guys, bro.
Hey, man. I can appreciate the enthusiasm. We're big on the Q7 here.
Calibration work is basically wrapped up on the big chunks. We just got to get it updated on the server.
Yeah. We don't have a date.
They don't have a release date. I've got many other things right now that are being worked on as well.
It's being prioritized with everything else. Can the dealer tell that the car was tuned if you reflash back to stock? Want to tune my B9 S4, but don't want to sacrifice my extended warranty.
I mean, we don't claim that we can keep anything from the dealer or anything. We don't,
Well, the fact of the matter is the dealer can cancel your extended warranty for any reason, even if they don't like the way you look that day. Granted, some reasons are more legitimate than others, but legally they do have an onus to prove that you did something wrong, and legally they have an onus to stand behind the warranty legally. The extended warranty is something that's even regulated by the government. So, can the service writer at a certain dealership say something stupid and give you a hard time? Yes. But, can you push back on it and escalate and go up the ladder till eventually that's overruled? Yes. Um, you know, like the old existential crisis. If you just stay in bed all day, nothing bad can happen to you. And this is kind of the same thing with your car. If having a factory warranty is absolutely the most important thing in the world to you, by all means, don't modify or tune your car, and maybe buy like a Honda or something. But if you're a Volkswagen, Audi, BMW enthusiast, you want to have fun with your car, tuning it and calibrating it is the best way to do it. You can flash back to stock. There's really no evidence that the car has been flashed, except maybe some discrepancies in the flash counter, which is nothing certain.
And on those, specifically the engine controller in those, we do not increment the flash counters. I don't know who else may or may not, but I know we don't. It's not very common. Usually they're incremented with other calibrations and tuned by other tuners. We specifically went in there and hold the flash counter to wherever we saw it the first time.
Yeah, but there is a huge level of unpredictability depending on what dealership you're dealing with, what rep you're dealing with, what their mood is, what's been going on at that dealership. There's no consistency from one dealership to another, or even from one day to the next. So you just need to be cautious that you could have an issue with this. And the more you do anything, even lowering your car, putting wheels on your car, any aftermarket part, taking your car to an independent auto repair facility, any of these things could void your warranty if the factory, the rep service writer determines that you did something outside of, the dyed-in-wool like Audi, Volkswagen procedure. But in general, no, we don't have mass cases of our customers losing their warranties, over like stage 1, type tunes and things like that. All right. Psyched to hear experience with the MR1900. No pressure on numbers or release. Yeah, it's fun. It's fast. It's great.
It's been rock solid. The hardware's been great.
We had a meeting with Merc Racing last week to kind of talk about releasing.
That's on me. I got to get some documents put together for that.
But no, it's definitely a faster, more powerful, fun car.
Mm-hmm.
We'll go from there. I'm already stage 3 with TTA10 on my EA839 S4. I want to add DPI and liquid meth system along with chromoly internals, but I want a 034 tune. Odds of 034 helping on a scale of 1 to 10. Definitely a 10. We will be supporting built motors with rods and pistons. We will be offering fueling solutions, not likely dual port injection, definitely not liquid meth. If that's something you want to do, you could do that on your own. But our goal is to support a continued improvement and maximizing of power and performance, especially once the motors are upgraded, which will be really nice. Like really allow us to really push that tune way further into the margin of safety than we've been able to with factory mounts. RS5 turbo inlet, yes, it is coming. Something we're working on every day. It's taken a little longer. It's a very tight space. Some of our competitors we've seen have spaced up the factory engine cover, which is not a good option. So we're making everything fit with the factory cover. So yeah, stay tuned. Thanks for your patience on that. How much body roll does the front strut brace reduce on the B9 A4 A5? Basically none. A strut brace does nothing for body roll. A strut brace simply makes the front suspension connecting points more rigid, more of a non-deforming structure. And so the advantage there is to maintain your alignment settings as you turn and load up your suspension. All you want to be moving in your suspension is the wheel and tire assembly through the suspension geometry motion. you don't want the car flexing and changing the camber or caster. So the strut brace just ensures that you have a really stable foundation for the suspension to function from. Someone's asking about S34 Insuction bundle shipping lead times. I'm not sure specifically or on what models, but in general, we've struggled for years to keep intakes in stock. They're one of our most popular products. If we're talking B9 S4, we sold a ton during Black Friday and when we released them, and so we're still working on bringing in more materials. I know we were supposed to get more materials in like mid to late January for another round of shipments. I don't know, what the latest is on that, so I just don't have that off the top of my head. But if you shoot us an email, we'll give you the best information we can. Hopefully, if you're waiting, you got it on sale and paid a good price. But we're sorry, we would like to ship as many of those as possible, but the demand and response has been overwhelming to some of these intake products, especially the S34 super duper intakes were very, very popular. What about crystal meth? I hear it makes you a faster driver.
You'll certainly think you are.
Yeah, I think that's kind of like how alcohol makes you sexier or makes you think you're sexier. I don't know.
I would not recommend driving while on any of those substances.
I don't recommend living while
living is probably also not a great situation.
Or having tea. Any of these we want to hit real quick? Let me see. What do you think are the limits of the RS5 stock turbos in terms of peak acceleration performance quarter mile? Well, I think it's what
we're getting there. Yeah, I mean it's.
Yeah, I mean I think.
What do we get?
Yeah.
He ran a 10.6.
10.6, a little bit faster than our 10.
Yeah, so it's probably like a 10.5-ish, depending on how you have the setup.
Yeah, like the perfect run.
Yeah, and the perfect run. We're seeing a lot of records dropping right now, and we're paying out a lot of different contingency prizes because it's drag racing season. It's January, so everywhere is nice and cool. Good DAs, but I think in practice you can call it 11.0 car all day.
Yeah,
you can definitely. It's also a 10-second car.
Sure.
Crack into the 10.8, 10.9s without a lot of setup, full weight, street trim, you name it. It's a pretty freaking awesome Audi.
Yep.
I know there's BMWs and whatever stuff out there that's fast too, but these Audis are, the RS5 especially, is really fun to drive. How long should I wait between pulls? Some BMWs can do 40 to 140 runs back to back. Should I wait 5-10 minutes before sending it again? No head studs.
That's entirely dependent on your conditions and temperatures. There's no hard and fast rule.
40 to 140? Yeah, I mean, I would wait at least 5 minutes. But, you can monitor your coolant temps and your air temps, and just want to get everything kind of back to where it was. Oil temps
before the first pull.
Depends. In really cool weather, you probably don't.
It may not be a very long recovery
time. Big turbos for the MK8 Golf R. Yes. I think we're still in the very early stages of that. But like we always say, the factory turbo's freaking a beast. So there's not a lot to gain with any aftermarket turbos thus far. If I was advising the typical Golf R customer right now, I would say enjoy that stock turbo for a little longer, and we'll release stuff as it becomes available. One last one. Actually got through almost all of them.
Got a good chunk of them, yeah.
Is there any chance of a future 034 PI kit. What's a
Port injection.
Port injection kit? Or intake manifold ported partnership with Artec, or are those chances close to or at zero? Just trying to understand if I should wait or go custom tune.
So the issue with these is that there's not a good option to do a manifold with port injection on these that gets the injectors oriented correctly and efficiently firing into the ports. You've really got to drill the heads to do that correctly, and to expect people to do that regularly is a big ask.
Unfortunately, what Artec did is a nice exercise in mechanical engineering, but the fuel is just kind of spraying at the port.
Across the port, yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't get into the port, and every microgram of fuel needs to go into the port and into the combustion chamber to be
so you're
reliable.
You're dealing with a lot of wall wetting, basically, where you're firing and fuel's getting hitting the walls of the chamber, and you
get a lot of reversion from one cylinder to the next. So one combustion cycle you get X amount of fuel, the next combustion cycle you get more or less, and it's just not consistent. And that's not something to add another 200 horsepower with inconsistent fueling like that. And at different RPMs you get these resonances inside the ports and the manifold, so you just need that fuel to stay in the ports. And unfortunately, the way these motors don't have intake manifolds, it's like an intake plenum cover
on the side of the head.
Yeah, the ports are in the head, just like the exhaust ports are in the head. So the only way to get an injector in the port to have port injection is to machine the head. You're talking about port injection, but what Artec's doing is plenum injection. And that's just not a reliable way to add that much more fuel. I think you could take a Chevy 350 and spray some fuel into the intake manifold and run just 5 pounds of boost.
Throttle body injection on that way.
Yeah, you can kind of get away with that at low power levels, but just not at the levels that we're seeing.
Yeah. That said, we are working on solutions to get a lot more fuel into the motor.
Yes.
Way above and beyond what's currently out there. On the DI side. So that testing's going very well.
So we would ask you all to focus on fueling upgrades, not necessarily specific types of fueling upgrades, because a lot of those just aren't viable.
Yeah.
And even though there's a lot of talk about it.
There is, and I think what gets glossed over a lot is the daily livability with the supplemental fueling solutions that are getting stuck on the motors. Getting that to harmonize and drive like stock,
consistency and reliability
correctly in all situations is not necessarily the target experience that's happening right now.
All right, well, I think we're out of time. Another great round of questions. Thank you guys.
Yes, guys.
Cheers. We'll see you next week.